tasty, especially the matchup between the two former teammates and former San Sebastian Stags, Paulie and Eric Salamat.
These two guys, we've seen them play against each other so many times already. You know that when they step on the floor, the friendship takes a back seat and they are in each other's mugs all game long with the trash talking and the taunting, but nonetheless, it really fuels them to play even better than they can when they see each other. We're talking about Eric Salamat, of course, going up against Paul Lee. And for Ateneo first, you got Eric Salamat and Jai Reyes at their main backcourt tandem, averaging almost 12 points a game. This Eric Salamat, 3 assists a ball game, 2.3 steals, the best in the league. But more than that, Eric puts in his points when they need it the most. When they need runs, he gets steals, he gets easy layups. When they need crucial shots, he's there ready to take them, pretty much like what Chris Chiu was doing for them in the years past. Jai Reyes, as he is known as Dynamite for the Blue Eagles, also has a knack of taking big shots. There are times he can start slow, but he does heat up. He's taking good control of the ball for Ateneo. That's his first priority of being very under control as a point guard. But you know he can drain it from beyond the arc. 33% from three-point field goal territory. He can hit those big shots likewise. For UE, you know what Paulie did against FEU. You know he was on fire, and it's pretty much like he was from a different planet with how he scored. He took the games over, and can he do that today? Can he perform the same way? And can Rudy Lingganay back him up as ably as he did in that FEU series with the same consistency? That has been the keyword challenge to Paul Lee throughout this season. Can Paul Lee be consistent? He has been in their winning streak. Can he bring that here into the finals?
Both Rudy Lingganay and Jai Reyes, the point guards of these two teams, are graduating. They're playing out their final year here in the UAAP. TJ, quick question. How important? We already talked about the big players, the major players, the starters even. How important will be the bench for these two teams as we put the spotlight on those who come off the bench?
Well, this is a huge advantage for Ateneo. You know, they're the deeper team in terms of experience and also in terms of talent. And we've seen it with the amount of points they put on the board. We've seen it when their star players, their starting fives don't perform well. All of a sudden, someone from the bench can come up and step up and play a great game and pull out the win for Ateneo. And that's how big the bench of Ateneo has been. For UE, just the same. It's their bench that has been a little bit inconsistent also in the first round. When they became consistent, when they were finding themselves in better control, that's when they racked up the wins in the second round. For Ateneo, you're looking at Nico Salva and Ryan Buenafe. Both guys coming off the bench, although at times, Nico Salva has also started in the ball games for Coach Norman Black. Pretty much similar numbers, 7 points a ball game for these two guys and almost 4 rebounds a game. The key, I think, for both these guys, the points will be there. They're going to have the looks. Can they play the defense that is required of them against their counterparts, Val Acuña, who we know can light up the board anytime if he gets hot. He can shoot in anybody's face. He can shoot from ridiculous range. And Paul Zamar, he can drive down the lane. He can really open up the game for UE in their open court style. And those are the factors, those are the things that they're going to be bringing on the floor for the Red Warriors in this series.
Val Acuña is the player there in that batch who is graduating, the former Rookie of the Year. Ryan Buenafe, also from the San Sebastian Stags. Ateneo versus UE. We talked about the players earlier. When me and TJ come back, we're going to talk about the teams, what they have to do to get game number 1 into their pocket. Stay with us, please, and we'll see you on the other side. We are back with you here at the Araneta Coliseum. Game 1 of the finals is moments away. Ateneo Blue Eagles hoping to defend their title and going up against Paul Lee and the rest of the UE Red Warriors, who are trying to erase the bitter memory of the year 2007 when they won every single game in the elimination round and then got swept by LaSalle in the finals. So 2 times in 3 years they've been in the finals. That's always a good thing for the UE Red Warriors. And speaking of the Red Warriors, TJ, what do they have to do to upend Ateneo here in game number 1?
Well, it's not an easy thing if you're going to look at purely the stats between Ateneo and UE when they played twice this season so far, because that was a long time ago. It was way before this big 8-game winning streak of UE.
That's their last loss.
They're a different team. I'd say they're pretty much a different team since then. So the keys to winning I saw some glimpses of how they did well against FEU. I'm putting it down also against Ateneo. First up, full court press and then zoning it up. Attack the middle on your offense. And then lastly, you got to crash the boards on both ends. First up, full court presence zoning up. We saw this against FEU. It worked for them. Why? Because they weren't zoning they weren't pressing like the way they used to back in Dito Pomaran's days.
Yes.
And getting the steals and getting those layups. But what their press did, it delayed the offense of FEU. They would end up with less time to operate, less time to swing that ball around, and that's when they went down to their zone. That's one thing they can and I think should do against Ateneo. It's a team who likes to space it out. They like to move the ball around. They like to be patient. But if you're going to give them less time to operate offensively, it's going to give them a harder time to find a good shot. Attack in the middle. When they went sour in terms of their outside shooting, talking about Paul Lee and Balacuña, there were times they were sour, believe us. They went straight to the hoop.
Yes.
They went to the rack. They took it with reckless abandon, barging inside into bigger guys of FEU like Aldrich Ramos, people who want to, no matter what their size was, they went in there and they attacked with no fear whatsoever. Why is that good? Because that's what will give you the looks for Parillagas and Elmer Espiritu. When Acuña and Lee and Ligane can drive, they can also drive and drop. Lastly for them, they have to crash the boards. If you look at the stats against Ateneo, they have been totally out-rebounded. In one game, they were out-rebounded by 12 rebounds. That will not win you a ball game. That will not win you a title series if you're going to allow Ateneo to out-rebound you by a double-digit margin. They're not one of the best rebounding teams in the league, and they're going to have to make up for that. Parillagas, Elmer Espiritu, yes, they can rebound, but they need a lot of help. That's why, as a team, they have to crash the boards.
UE is number 5 only in the rebounding department. And just to add to what TJ mentioned earlier, they're also last in turnover points, something that they've ruled together with LaSalle in the last 2 or 3 years here in the league in past seasons. Ateneo, in the meantime, I mean, they are the #1 defensive team. They're one of the best, well, actually the best shooting team. They're best in 2 points. They're best in 3-point shooting. What do they have to do, or what could they maintain coming into this finals, riding on that 11-game winning streak?
Exactly. You know, whenever I speak to Coach Roman, he always has a kind of a mindset. He doesn't say exactly, but if it ain't broken, don't fix it. You know, there's not much to really tweak if there are not that many problems. But first of all, looking at their flight plan here, first up, setting up the offense quickly, then stopping UE slashers up high and spacing it out and moving the ball. We'll get into this right now. Setting up the offense quickly means you're going to have to break that press. You're going to have to get into your front court with a lot of time with the shot clock so you can use it. You can space it out. You can move the ball around. You can find Raba early in the post, or you can find him when he swings the ball around on the repost. But for you to do that, you're going to need a lot of time on your shot clock. So they have to set up their offense quickly and attack quickly as possible. So if and when they get denied, if they get zoned up, they can have the patience to swing that ball around. Secondly, for Ateneo, they're going to have to stop UE slashers up high. Of course, they're going to take the outside shots. Sometimes they're going to take outside shots from 10 feet from beyond the arc, and they're going to surprise the hell out of you. You're going to have to give them that, but you should deny them those drives. You should deny the middle and stop them up high. If they're going to allow Paul Lee and Acuña to blow by the Ateneo guards and leave it up to Raba and Onoy Bacrao to defend, they're going to get the big men into foul trouble. So they got to stop them at the perimeter.
Yes.
The guards alone will have to collapse down and clog the lanes and not let them get in the paint. So that's the kind of perimeter defense Ateneo needs to play against you in the series. Lastly, going back to the offense again, spacing it out and moving the ball. Boom, you mentioned they're the best three-point shooting team in the league, averaging 31.9% from three-point land. And that is because they're one of the better teams in spacing it out and moving the ball around. If you want to do good ball movement, anybody can do that, but it won't work if you don't have good enough spacing. And that's what Ateneo has been consistent with. When they dip it in the post, they kick it out, they get good outside shots, and that's when you get good percentages from beyond the arc.
Oh, that's a mouthful, TJ.
That's a mouthful for me.
And we're all going to see that later on. Again, this is a team that is on an 11-game winning streak. They're going up against a team that is on an 8-game winning streak. They, at some point, were just struggling to get over 500 at 4-4, and they racked up all of those wins, including beating FEU twice to make it to the finals. Coach Norman Black was expected to be here in the finals from the very start, while Coach Lawrence Johnson and Paul Lee and the rest of the Red Warriors surprised everybody, defied expectations, and now they have a chance to end a 24-year title drought. Game number 1 is coming up in a few minutes here on Studio 23.
Ladies and and gentlemen, this UAAP Championship game is now seen live on Studio 23, the Filipino channel, with replay on Ball Sky Cable Channel 34, and for the first time ever, in high definition on Sky Cable Channel 166. Good afternoon from the Mecca of sports and entertainment, the historic Araneta Coliseum in Cubao, Quezon City, for the much anticipated game number 1 of the best of 3 series in your season 72 UAAP Finals. These two teams are meeting in the finals for the first time since 1987. First, starting for the quintet, who bucked the odds by winning back-to-back games in the Final Four to enter the finals for the second time in 3 years. Here's the UE Red Warriors. At guard number 5, Paul Samar. Point guard number 14, Rafi Reyes. Center number 15, Pari Liagas. Shooting forward number 21, Val Acuna. And at power forward number 9,
Son and simply welcome to the madness. All the finals of the 72nd season of the UAAP. The starters of the UE Red Warriors already announced, and you saw them. Rafi Reyes, Zamar, Paul Zamar, Pariliagas, Elmer Espiritu, and Val Acuna, as we now get into the introduction of the defending champions, who are on an 11-game winning streak. Game 1, very important, TJ, just to throw out some numbers. The Game 1 winner has gone on to win a series 11 out of 15 times. That's 73% since the start of the Final Four format in 1994. Short series, TJ. Highly important game number 1.
Absolutely, you know, especially since you're talking about two teams who are on amazing winning runs. You got Ateneo on an 11-game winning streak and UE on an 8-game winning streak, and you don't want to lose that momentum. You don't want to have that heartbreaking loss to stop that run and stop that momentum. On the other hand, if you win, boy, are you going to keep that high. You're going to keep that morale going, and you're absolutely going to go for the kill in game number 2.
And UE, very familiar with not winning game number 1, and that kind of cost them in 2007, TJ. That was what everybody was talking about. If LaSalle won game number 1 in 2007, things will turn. And boy, did they turn for the worst for the UE Red Warriors, who will get first dibs here in game number 1. Welcome to it. This is live, this is exclusive, and it's available on high definition Sky Cable Channel 166 as Rafi Reyes gets it to go for the first triple of the ball game.
Nice little weave at the top of the key there to start things off for UE, who is starting without Paul Lee. And a little bit of confusion on the defensive matchups there, but Ateneo, as Rafi Reyes got a wide open look.
Paul Zamar is his 6th start only, DJ, in 17 games this season, while Paco Nostria, 2nd start in 16 games this season. The coach is changing it up a bit.
Yep, and you're seeing here, as you look back at that nice move and a nice pass from Acuna to Reyes.
And Alaksan body paint, Alaksan FR 3-point shot, body paint kahit saan. Agad talab ang Alaksan FR, and Coach Norman dumping it right to their meal ticket right away, TJ.
Right away, as we said, one of their keys to winning is setting up their offense quickly, and an integral part of that is finding Raba very quickly in their offense. He is the anchor of their offense. If he gets a good seal right down low right away, he can get a good shot at them early. If not, he can be the anchor to swing things around and find a better look.
Elmer Espiritu, Paul Zamar, Val Acuna. Everybody touching the ball, including Pariliagas, who attempts a long 3. That's short. And picked up Rafi Reyes. 5 points for him. The former Sensible stretch tag also. People seem to forget. They talk about Paul Lee. They talk about Eric Salamat. He was also a teammate of these guys. Backlund for the long 3, and he gets it to go.
Good spacing once again for Ateneo there, and they're the ones who are attacking as quick as UE was attacking. in the Final Four against FPU. So you're seeing Ateneo trying to keep in pace bit so far with UE.
Oh, great setup job. Llagas hesitating. The number 2 shot blocker, Nonoy Baclao, was there. But UE takes it away from the Ateneo fast break. Acuna, hesitation move, slips and slides, and draws a foul and gives us an opportunity to usher in the 3rd member of our broadcast team, Jessica Mendoza from Ateneo. Go ahead, Jeff.
Boom, the Blue Eagles aren't heroes on the basketball court alone. Most of the boys spent the past week loading and unloading goods for the typhoon victims, delivering those goods to the affected areas, and even cleaning up at the Ateneo Teachers Village in Marikina. Now, some of the players were affected, including Nico Salva, Krista Chavez, Frank Golia, and Jai Reyes. But even Ondoy couldn't make the boys lose their focus completely. They were back in practice by Monday, proving true that Coach Norman Black does not change his philosophy for anyone or anything. It's been most difficult trying to refocus on basketball, he told me, but we're going to concentrate on our work, and ultimately we want to come out and play defense. Boom and TJ.
Thank you, Jessica. Well, that goes back to what TJ was mentioned earlier about him not rocking the boat when they've come into the finals with an 11-game winning streak. And how about this matchup? One of those matchups that we want to see, TJ.
And how rare is this? Nonoy Baclao on a one-on-one move, trying to barge inside as Elmer Espiritu held his ground and blocked that shot.
Shot block brought to you by Rexona. Use Rexona after every bath. They are number 1 and number 2 in shot blocking, talking about Elmer and Nonoy. All right, time for the 4th member of our broadcast team to bring it on. Tiff Atendido from the UE side of things. Go ahead, Tiff.
Yes, Boom. Talk about being very calm and collected. The Warriors are all set for today's ball game. But you know what? For this whole week, the boys have been practicing from gym to gym as everyone was truly affected by the typhoon. But it's not stopping the whole team, especially each and every member, to contribute, execute, and play with all heart. They were told to be each other's support system, whether on the court playing or just seated at the bench. Now, everyone thought Team UE would make it this far, but that's just more motivation for the Warriors to prove their critics wrong and show their supporters that they were right to believe in them. Focus on today's game, defense, defense, defense. Boom and TJ.
Thank you very much, Tiff. As Jai Reyes able to find a space and able to put it up and in. The score is 7-all, the second deadlock of the ball game. TJ, it is going to be really hard for players to focus on with all the distractions, of course. And, you know, their excuse for that, of course, they have to think about a lot of other people. But I also have to say, and you should know this also, TJ, as players, sometimes when they're in this court, when they're in the Araneta Coliseum, they're in their element. This is their refuge from the outside world.
I will attest to that, because that's what I did growing up loving basketball. It was my refuge to many different things in life, and that's exactly the same thing for these players here on the floor today. And if you look at the way it's been played so far, with the exception of the block of Espiritu on Baclao earlier, I think the defense has been a little bit loose for both sides, especially in the paint.
Especially when you see Nonoy Baclao running the break and finishing Ateneo's number 1 in terms of fast break points. That might surprise. Sorry, number 2 in fast break points. Only 0.1 behind UST at 11.8. So doing very well in that department as Val strokes the 3. Wild shot by Val Acuna. Nonoy Baclao was ahead of the pack, but Jai didn't see it.
As we said, we will not be surprised with those 3-point shots from way beyond the arc for Acuna and for Paul Lee.
Rabah Al-Husseini, you rarely see him fade away. Turn around and fade away. And he misses that one. Rafi, just enough time to get that ball across. 5:45 remaining here in the first quarter. Zamar from the corner overcooks that one, and Rabah Al-Husseini comes down with his 3rd rebound of the ball game. And Ateneo looks to pick up the pace. Acuna in the face of Eric.
And not biting the fake, not biting the ploy of picking up the foul.
Rafi.
Oh, what a drop
to
pass.
Patty Llagas.
That is his 3rd great drop pass in the game, but 2nd assist. His first one, it was Llagas who was blocked, but the last 2 drop passes of Rafi Reyes have been on the ball, and he is dissecting this defense of Ateneo.
That's Rabah Al-Husseini able to get it up and in. Tying the ball game once again. This is what we expected. Sorry, that's 11-9 now. It breaks the tie at the 5:11 mark as we go into a timeout with Samsung. Imagination lives. We're back here at the Araneta Coliseum for game number 1 of the finals between Ateneo and UE for the 72nd season men's basketball tournament of the UAAP. Boom Gonzalez, TJ Manotoc for the call today. And 3 assists so far for UE, 2 of them coming from this kid.
Look at that.
Rafi Reyes to Patty Llagas, an assist brought to you by PS Bank. Simple lang, maaasahan.
What a great addition that is to the offensive weapons of UE with Paul Lee still not yet playing. You know, when he's going to be sitting on the bench, you're going to see Zamar and Reyes do their thing. And that's going to take a lot of pressure off of Lee and Acuna.
Jai Reyes fought for the push on Rafi Reyes. Under 5 minutes to play, 11-9 is the score. Let's look at a Smart instant replay. Smart, we're helping sports. This was the bump that I was talking about. The foul call, back to live action here at the Araneta Coliseum. They go down to Val Acuna against Bacon Austria. Acuna backing down, sends it to Llagas. Llagas unable to finish. And again, Nonoy Baclao altering the shot.
That was great execution and patience by UE, but Nonoy Baclao held the fort there right at the front of the rim.
4:35, 13 to shoot. Raba finally gets that fadeaway to go. 6 points for the reigning MVP.
That's the kind of fadeaway he likes.
Yes.
Catching the ball around 15, 14 feet.
In
fading
rhythm.
away. Exactly, in rhythm. As opposed to before, off the dribble, fading away, turning around. That's not really his rhythm shot.
Val settles for the 3. Off to the left, Baclao secures another rebound. That is his 3rd of the ball game, and Raba is running. Fakes, fires, no, and draws the foul. Go to the line as he secures an appointment with a free throw line. Let's look at the Smart instant replay. We're helping sports. The big men, the bigs of Ateneo, in their history, have been running the floor very well.
And you know why? I'll explain this. In that last play in particular, why Raba was the first one down the court, because he was the big man involved defensively on the pick and roll in which Val Acuna took the shot. He challenged that shot, so that was his only defensive purpose on that set play, and it was the rest of the guys who had to get the rebound. Thus, he had the freedom to run the floor right away. Coach Sherman allows that. For those who challenge the outside shots, they can run down right away, and it's no surprise those things make them the #1 running team in the league.
And speaking of running, look at Rafi Reyes. Everything but the shot on that one. Jai picks up some scraps. Under 4 minutes remaining, and Ateneo waits for more friends. Paul Lee is getting ready to come back or make his first appearance here in game #1. The foul by, the bump by Espiritu. They don't call that. Austria settles for a 3, and he gets it to go for his 2nd triple of the ball game.
Big shots there by Austria, and those are the kind of shots that if you're UE and you need to double team Raba, you'll say, bibigay ko sa yan. I'm gonna give you that. Hit that all day if you can. But so far, he's draining it.
Shooting 21.4% for the season, and doing well today as Elmer Espiritu is able to draw a foul from Bacon Austria. Let's look at this sequence. The save by Baclao. As we look at a clear precision stop, clear men, no dandruff, just cool hair. Paul Lee now in the ball game. Featured in our substitution, brought to you by KFC, delivered to us by KFC. It's finger licking good.
And to counter this, I am not surprised at all. Kirk Long off the bench for Coach Ronald Black. I would think that Kirk Long has been assigned to pretty much marry Paul Lee. Be his shadow.
Asawahin.
Exactly.
Lingana is also in the ball game for the first time. Espiritu with a flyby move, settles for the jumper, short. And Raba comes away with his 5th rebound. Salamat running on the other side. The fake over Espiritu.
4th shot there. Yeah. It was 1 against 3. Of course, you know, Salamat, he was fishing for the foul in that play. But so far, UE's bigs have been very disciplined in not biting on those fakes and not biting on the baits for the foul.
Llagas, face-up jumper, bang!
He's got that range. Raba's got to be cautious. Not to hit that range, but that was big for Llagas and me because that broke the 7-0 run of Ateneo.
So it's now 16-11 as we go into a timeout with Samsung Imagination Lives. Let's check out our tip-to-top player matchup by Selecta Corneto. Tip-to-top sarap. One of the more talked about matchups here coming into the finals.
Well, you just saw these two guys receive a ton of awards earlier that you hosted. And Paul Lee, one of the more important awards, the most improved player of the season, and he has proven that with his 17-point average.
Salamat sets up the pocket rocket. Al Husseini is 2 out of 4 from the field. Make that 3 out of 5. from the floor.
If he's going to keep hitting that, he's going to be hard to stop. And Llagas was right there to challenge that shot. Now, one thing you got to do is to probably start denying him receiving the ball in the high post, in fronting him.
I like his focus though, TJ. He looks focused. He doesn't look distracted. He doesn't look like he's being eaten up or distracted by the crowd here at the Araneta Coliseum. Salamat. And calling out the play at the 2-minute mark of the first quarter. It's a 7-point lead. The biggest lead for the defending champion. Salamat steps back and puts it in.
Wow. Ateneo is just in rhythm right now. And they're running like a well-oiled machine. No signs of any rust considering they had the longer layoff compared to UE.
All right. Espirito with a cut. Taken away. And Ateneo, the #1 defensive team in the league, forces a turnover. 17 under 24. Great show by Espirito, but a foul will be called.
There was a good show, but he did try to poke that ball away.
Mali yung posisyon niya eh.
Yeah, it was the right arm rather than the left arm.
Clear precision stop here. Clear men, no dandruff, just cool hair. Sorry, go ahead.
What you're seeing right now, in that play in particular, good perimeter defense by Ateneo. They're pressuring up high, and that will stop the slashing that we saw earlier Rafi Reyes was able to do.
Former Rookie of the Year, and Buenafen now in Nico Salva in his debut. And
Finals? Was it his second year?
Second
Nico
year.
Salva, yeah.
He was there.
He's had a
Kasi
title.
last year, defending champion nga sila.
Yep.
I'm looking at the 1 year that they missed, which was 2008. 2007, where LaSalle and UE played, and he was not yet in the UAP. Eric Salamat was already part of that team. And I'll throw some numbers at you, TJ, that will very much surprise you about Eric Salamat a little later on. But in the meantime, let's go back to this game. As Raba is up against Llagas. Raba, the face-up. That's short. And Asibar able to collect the retrieval. 20-11. Biggest lead of the ball game for Ateneo. Paulie forces the issue, and the referees are letting them play. Long recovers. With under a minute to play in the first quarter. And has seen Ateneo defend and shoot well at the same time. And a foul is called on a UE Red Warrior. A little bit of frustration on the part of UE here. Paul Lee flooring Eman Montfort.
Well, you saw that last play when Paul Lee wanted to take charge and attack early. Kirk Long stayed right with him. Why? He did not gamble on the steal. Just played great lateral defense, stayed in front, and then the help defense came, collapsed, and there was nowhere to go for Paul Lee.
Now, there's a lot of arm wrestling going on between Linganay and Montfort. Hosseini, unstoppable when he's that close. He loves playing against UE.
Speaking of wrestling, that's probably the only thing they can do right now to stop Al Hosseini. He's got 10 points right now in the ball game, and he is scoring pretty much at will.
Wild shot by Paul Lee, and Ateneo currently on a 13-2 run in the last 5 minutes, TJ. UE is being taken out of this ball game in their rhythm. Montfort sets up Kirk Long, swings it to Buenafe. Great ball movement by Ateneo, short throw. And Montfort able to track it down and save the possession. Buenafe floats in the air, puts it up and in. With 5 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Asibar throws a prayer and a 15-2 run by the defending champions.
Well, the guys who came off the bench for UE were not able to sustain the composure and the discipline that the starting 5 had. And what happens? A big run by Ateneo.
Powerade Hyper Play of the quarter. Powerade Sports Drink Hyper Play. Drink up, power up. Sports is what you make it. Ryan Buenafe, his role in this finals will be very crucial for Ateneo. We'll take a break, and we will be back with second quarter action here at the Araneta Coliseum.